Hello, welcome back to another riveting episode of How To with Harold. I'm Harold and this is How To with Harold, hence the name. Not to be confused with the hip-hop artist, hence the name.
What's good, fam? It's your boy, hence the name. Today, as always...
Nope, not him, but me. And today, we're going to take a deeper look into how to make your videos one step better, from a 1.5 out of 10 right through to a 2 out of 10. Let's get stuck in!
It's How To with Harold. He's British, therefore intelligent. How To with Harold.
3 Ds for you to remember today. The first D is depth. Real life is like this shoebox. It's got 3 dimensions: height, length, and of course, depth. However, the funny little screen you're looking at right now only has 2 dimensions: length and height, aka breadth. Our job is to try and create a sense of the 3rd dimension. You with me? A little bit of physics, not too much for the brain, I hope? Slow man, what's your take on all this?
You're boring, mate.
Duly noted. So, how do we create this 3rd dimension? The basic #1 way of doing that is to create depth between yourself and your background. Take a look-see. Okay, folks, this is what it looks like if I'm backed up against the wall with 0 distance between me and my background. Another simple way of creating a little bit of depth is to use a corner of a room. The second way we create this 3rd dimension is using lights. Now, here's the big thing. On episode 1, part 1.1, I gave you this tip and said, look into the light, which is the truth. However, it's still incomplete. To create the sense of depth that you would like to see on the face, look 3/4 into the light. Here's an example. All right, this is me looking straight into the light. We're going to move the camera and watch how the shadows change. Suddenly, the one side of my face begins to be plunged into the darkness and the other side remains bright. This is good. It's giving me depth. Keep going. A little bit too much contrast over here. As you can see, fully dark on the one side, a little bit too bright on the other. It's not the end of the world, but this is really where you want to be. Where don't you want to be, folks? All the way over here. I call this horse manure. Now, here's a little tip for you. If you've got an old person in your house, go and take down the netting on their window. Stick it up on a big window in your house and sit yourself adjacent to that window. What that netting does is create a natural softening on your face, so suddenly you don't look hideous anymore. So much for Photoshop. We've got old people. D #2, design. Now, you've only got 2 choices when it comes to your background, so listen carefully. Uniformity in simplicity, and #2, uniformity in busyness. The key thing is uniformity. Let's have a look at a few examples and rip them to glorious shreds. Here's an example of me backed up against another background. As you can see, this shot is what I like to call feces for a number of reasons. #1, 0 depth. #2, strange little objects competing for the viewer's attention. #3, little things peeking into the frame. What I would do is first of all, you've instantly framed out the little plastic packet on the side. However, still not good. Alrighty, there we go. We've moved the camera. Maybe this is a little bit better. More depth, a bit more behind me. Kevin, how am I doing?
Mate, I'm not gonna lie. I've got no idea what's going on.
He's struggling. Right, folks, this is an example of a background that is uniformly busy. Because there's so much going on behind me, it acts as a visual frame around my body. This is busy but not uniform. I would call this bat dung. All right, welcome to OCD shots. As you're watching, the OCD in you wants to just do us all a favor, straighten out the picture, and then begin your soliloquy. It's a simple background, but as you can see, it's not uniform. This little plug over here is biting me in the... Let's see if we can adjust the camera slightly to create a little bit of depth. Here we go. All right, there we go. Maybe it's a bit better. What do you think? The last D is discovery. The main thing to keep in mind with discovery is this. Everything communicates. Whether you like it or not, you are saying something to everybody that's watching. Take, for instance, my good friend, hence the name. Take a look at his dress code. Where he's sitting, how he sits, what he's doing with his eyes, his hands. Just from those few video clips, it's clear to see, hence the name lacked a prominent male role model as a child. Now, 4 things to keep in mind as you let your audience discover you. Number 1, location. This is an optimum occasion to showcase a little bit more about who you are using your environment. Are you a practical person? You enjoy building things, using your hands, getting them dirty. Well, maybe you should shoot in your garage. Are you more the academic type? Perhaps shoot in front of a bookshelf. You're boring, mate. You've always been boring. All right, that's your opinion. Number 2 in discovery is clothing. Take me, for example, standing here in my tweed jacket with my cap. You've discovered I've obviously graduated cumulonimbus from Oxford. So keep in mind, what you wear communicates. Make sure you match your personality. Number 3 is props. What helps often, if you're talking about a subject matter, is to use a matching prop. What about this? Thanks, Bruce. Folks, the last thing to say about discovery is this. Be authentic. We all want to watch something honest, vulnerable, and true to yourself. Don't be the proverbial David in Saul's armor. If the clothes you're wearing is making you feel uncomfortable, change them. If the room doesn't best represent you visually, change it. If you're a surfer, put some surfboards in the background. If you're a golfer, get the golf clubs out from the cup. Whatever your occupation, your values, your worldview, who you are, help us to see that. And I can guarantee you, if you apply these basic tips to your next video, you're gonna get at least 3 more people watching. So, that's the end of the day. Gavin, how was I? You're a woman. May God richly bless you. Folks, that's all we've got time for today. Goodbye.
He's out with Harold. He's British, therefore intelligent. How to with Harold. How to with Harold. How to with Harold. How to with Harold. From a young age he showed potential.
Good show, old chap.
It was nurtured wisely. Now look at him. He can say big words. He can read big books bigger than you. It's how to with Harold.